Hello, guys. Good evening. Speaking to you live from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. This is Alphonse. Uh, I want to welcome all of you to our session, and I want to make sure that I have you in our webinar. So I can see we have somebody from Nigeria. Uh, can you just put your microphone on and say hi to us if you can hear me properly? Adebimpe, can you put your microphone on? Hello, guys. I want you to write something if you can hear me. Adebimpe, do you hear me? Hello. Greetings from Nigeria. So whoever is in this webinar, I want to make sure we have you in this session. If you hear me, please either write something or you can just put your microphone on. Yep. Okay. Okay, guys. So we are starting our session now. As you can see on the screen, this is our title, and we are going to be with you in the next 1 hour or so. So make sure you have a piece of paper, if not a diary, and your pen, because I don't want you to miss anything on this mind-blowing session. So, as I said, I'm the one who is speaking now, and I'm coming to you live from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So I'm your host, but here I have my colleague. He's going to be our presenter. His name is on the screen, so I don't want to waste time. So now I'm keeping the mic to Mr. Hezron Mafuru. Hezron Mafuru, you can go ahead.
Thank you. And without taking even the time to mention my name again, because the name comes on the screen, well, let me just mention it. My name is Hezron Mafuru, as you can see it on the screen, and I am here to take you in this mind-blowing subject. You see it on the screen. It says, winning the battle of your mind. But before I take you further, let me define the mind. And since I don't have an audience to ask the meaning of the word mind, let me try my immature efforts to define what the mind is. The mind, in a very simple way, the mind is the content within the human brain. The mind is not the brain. The mind is the content within. The mind is not even the nerves. The mind is not everything that is physical within the human brain. The mind is the electrical content within the human brain. But the question here is, where do we get our mind from? If the mind is not the physical part of the human body, if it's not so, then where do we get this mind from? The mind is what we get from what we have heard before we were born, because we start hearing before we are born. So what you have been hearing before you were born, and when you got born, you continued hearing, and then you added on another way of receiving a content, you added on the seeing. So what you have been seeing and hearing together, they have been collecting themselves within your brain and have made what is your mind today. So the mind is a collection of the words that you have heard and the things that you have seen. So the mind is composed of the mental pictures and the words that you have heard. That is what make your mind. So we don't get the mind from what we eat. You don't get your mind. You didn't get the mind that you have from rice. You didn't get the mind that you have from meat. So the mind is basically a content from what you have heard and from what you've seen all these days of your life. Now, but the other question that you might want to ask yourself is that if that is what compose the mind, then what does the mind determine? The mind determines a lot of things. People don't even know where they get their attitude from. You don't get your attitude from what you have eaten. You don't get your perception from what you have eaten. You get your perception from your mind, and the mind is the content of what you have heard and of what you have seen growing up. So then you must know that your attitude is built on what you've ever heard and what you've ever seen. Your perception is built on the things that you've ever heard and seen. So I don't know, those of you who are listening to me, I don't know what your perception about life is. I don't know what your attitude and even your reasoning. But you must know that what you've been hearing, what you've been seeing, and even what you're still hearing now determine your perception and your attitude and even your focus and all the character that you have in life. But the question will still be that what makes the mind a battlefield? Well, the mind becomes a battlefield because it has a tendency of broadcasting its content, and it also has a tendency of receiving from the minds that are like. So what you have in your mind is constantly broadcasted. It goes out in the process. It invisibly goes out in the process of thinking. But you also receive from other minds. You've heard the law. It is called water gravitates to a place that is prepared to receive it. Likewise, thoughts from the invisible will always gravitate to minds that are prepared to receive them. Now, if I would go back to the role, what is the role of the mind in achieving your goal? The role of the mind in achieving one's goal is that in order for a person to achieve a goal that is set for himself, if you have a goal that you set for yourself, you cannot achieve it without doing what you're supposed to do every day to achieve that goal. You don't achieve the goal sleeping. You don't achieve the goal just sitting down and doing nothing. There are some specific measurable actions that you ought to be doing every day to achieve your goal. Now, how do you do? How do you live the specific measurable actions that you're supposed to do every day to achieve your goal? You can do them, you can't live them if they are not in your mind. If I may take you back again to talk about the mind is divided into two sections. The section number one is what is called the conscious mind, and section number two is what is called the subconscious mind. Now, in order for a person to live, to do something in life, to carry out the actions that you're supposed to carry out to achieve what you set for yourself, then those specific measurable actions need to be a part of your subconscious mind. And when you talk about the subconscious mind is a collection of the things that you have heard, the things that you have seen, which excite emotions. Now, the stories that you hear, the emotional stories that you hear, the emotional pictures or events that you see, they go right away into your subconscious mind and they stay there. And they produce dictates, the things that will drive you to carry out certain actions. Now, if the content of your subconscious mind is not of the things that you want to carry out to achieve your goal, you cannot find doing what you're supposed to do. And that is why we have many people who plan. They end up planning. They say, this year I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. But in their subconscious mind, they don't have the things that they plan. They don't have the specific and measurable actions. They don't always think about the very things that they are supposed to do to achieve what they want in life. If you were to do what you want to achieve in life, if you were to have the dictate, the things that will drive you to do, then you need to have a list of what you're supposed to do. You need to have a list of the states that you're supposed to live, that you're supposed to carry out every day, that you may achieve what you set for yourself. Now, then these states need to be in your subconscious mind. I will share with you how you can put the states in your subconscious mind. I have people who complain several times when they come to the end of the year. They have done nothing of what they planned, but they don't even know why they didn't do what they had planned. Friends of mine, I know those of you who are listening to me, you cannot do what you do not always think about. If you have a plan and you have a way to achieve your goal, then during the day, you don't even think about what you're supposed to do. You allow your mind to be thinking about other things because the mind was designed in order for someone to carry out the states that he's supposed to live to achieve. The mind was designed in such a way that if you always think about what you're supposed to do, the mind will produce dictates that will drive you to do what you're supposed to do. But if you do not think, if you do not allow what you're supposed to do to become part of your thinking, in fact, to become what you always think about all the day long, you cannot find doing. And that is why we have people saying, at the end of the year, I haven't done anything. and they don't even know. But the problem is the mind. These people don't even always ask themselves the question that, have I been thinking what I am supposed to do? Because you can't have what you're supposed to do and then you don't think about what you're supposed to do. You don't always think about what you're supposed to do and expect to do what you're supposed to do. If you think about other things like games, like music, and you don't ever think about what you're supposed to do, how can you find doing what you're supposed to do to achieve your goal? But one more thing about the human mind, as I said earlier, that the mind is divided into two sections. The first section is the conscious mind, and the second section is the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind determines what you do. The conscious mind determines your decision making, your judgment, your choice, your choosing. Now, where comes the battle? The battle is in the fact that the mind has a tendency of broadcasting its content and receiving from other like minds. Now, if your mind is negative, if your mind is not of the things that you're supposed to carry out to achieve what you want in life, if your mind is not that, especially the subconscious mind, then you will always receive, invisibly receive, negative things, things that will always contradict what you want to do. So the mind, the subconscious mind, will always receive, because the only part or section of the human mind that receives from the invisible is the subconscious mind. Now, when you come to decide with your conscious mind that this is what I want to do, you have a speaking voice in your in your conscious mind every day telling you that this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. But if your mind, your subconscious mind has been receiving things that contradict, thoughts that contradict what you're supposed to do, you can't find, because the speaking voice in your subconscious mind is an involuntary voice. And the speaking voice in your conscious mind is a voluntary voice. That is why the conscious mind is the center of judgment, the center of decision making, the center of choice. You may choose, but you may not find to do what you choose, what you're choosing to do, because the doing comes from the subconscious mind. Now, when the two minds, the two sections are not in harmony, the conscious mind is deciding, but the subconscious mind contains the things that are negative, the things that contradict what the conscious mind is deciding to do. You cannot find, friends of mine, because the conscious mind controls the body involuntarily. And that is why you decide to do something, you always have a nagging voice, a voice that is negatively speaking, a voice that is telling you not to do, a voice that might even evolve, dictates that you feel bad about doing what you want to do. And so you cannot find it. And that is why there are people who decide every day with their conscious mind to do, but they can't find doing. Why? Because the subconscious mind is what controls doing and is always powerful. If this conscious mind, this subconscious mind is not developed harmoniously with the conscious mind. So if you are to win the battle of your mind, you need to make sure that growing up, you are to develop the mind. You are to receive the things that will make your mind, the food of your mind, that will make your mind to develop harmoniously. If your mind is negessing, if the two sections are negessing each other, how can you find doing? There is where the battle is. And that is what has made most people not to do what they are supposed to do. They may know what they are supposed to do, but they can't find doing because of this condition, because of this state of the mind. Now, let me still run you quickly into how the mind was designed. The mind was designed to be positive. The mind was designed to be pure. The mind was also designed to be stayed on the content. The mind was designed not to be the kind that branches out, not to be the kind that wanders, not to be the kind that is random, not to be the kind that is riotous. The mind is to flow systematically from one subject to another, from one topic to another. Now, those who always have minds that are negative, minds that are enemy to their success, those who always have these kinds of mind are those who have not trained their minds to win this battle. The mind has to be trained because winning the battle, any battle, you need to have a training. How is the mind to be trained? You are the one who knows what you want to achieve in life. The other question is, do you know what you're supposed to live by to achieve your goal? And have you allowed the content of what you're supposed to do to be a part of your subconscious mind, to dominate you, to be the kind that you think about all the day long? Because you cannot find to do if you don't think about it all the day long. You cannot find to do what you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to do to achieve. You cannot do. Here is the problem with most people, because we always plan and hope to reach somewhere, but the problem is that we cannot find doing, and we don't even know what holds us back from doing what we have to do. If you don't know that the enemy is within yourself, the enemy is in your subconscious mind, that you don't always think about what you're supposed to do. The subconscious mind will never dictate you to do if you do not always think all the day long. Now, in order to do what you're supposed to do, you are going to face a battle. As I say that the mind is a receiving station, there are some other thoughts that you'll be receiving, thoughts that will always contradict what you want to do. What do you do with the thoughts that you receive? You see, there are people who have random minds, minds that are not systematic, minds that are not stayed on the very subjects of the things that they are supposed to do all the day long. And so they are loose mind. They are minds that are wandering. They are minds that are riotous. And so it is easy for these minds to be stayed, even on the negative things. Whatever comes in the mind is never successfully dismissed. And how do these negative thoughts come in the mind? You see, friends of mine, growing up, we've received elements of negative mind, elements that make a negative mind. All of us have received. We were born in environments that actually do not give us the opportunity or the chance to receive only pure things. So before the dawn of conscious in your life, you've received a lot of negative things. You may not be remembering them now, but they are in your subconscious mind, latent there in your subconscious mind. They are only evoking dictates, and that is why you have the kind of attitude that you have, and that's why you have the kind of perception that you have, and that is why you feel the way you feel about what you want to achieve in life, because deep on the inside of you, they are negative, latent thoughts. And your mind is favorable to receiving other negative thoughts from the face of the earth, from the ether, from the atmosphere. They are vibrations of thought. You receive them unknowingly. You think you're remembering things. Thoughts will arise in your subconscious mind and will be thoughts that are actually holding you back, thoughts that are discouraging you, thoughts of the things that intimidate you to carry out what you're supposed to do. Sometimes you feel tired. This is the work of these thoughts. You feel, I'll do this tomorrow. You put it off. You say, or you say, today I feel so tired. I'll find some time, some good times tomorrow. But let me assure you, those are thoughts working on the inside of you, in your subconscious mind. And it is amazing that many of us do not have clear thinking. Our thoughts are not clear. I may ask many of those who are listening to me if they ever know the kind of mind that they have. Just like we can go to the doctor,
Mister.
and if we go to the doctor, you can find out your blood group. So likewise, you should be able to find out the kind of mind that you have. If you don't know the kind of the mind that you have, then you are in trouble, because we receive thoughts from the invisible. And let me tell you something. I know for sure that there are only two types of mind. Type number one is the positive mind. They are given different names. You could call it an idle mind or a natural mind. The other mind is the positive mind. You could also call it a spiritual mind. But the two kinds, the two minds are linked to their sources. You must know the source, the major source of a negative mind. Where did we get a negative mind? Where did human get the negative mind? When man was created, is it true that man was created with a negative mind? If you be like those of us who have taken the time to study about the human mind, we have come to realize that man was not created with a negative mind. Man was created with a sound mind. A sound mind is a positive mind, the mind of a creator. The measure of the mind of the creator, the content of his mind was of the things that the creator had said about his environment, about his life. And so his attitude about life was the attitude of the maker. His perception about life, his motive, his reasoning was the reasoning of the maker. But from nowhere, because the mind has a tendency of receiving, he received some negative things from another source. And what he received and allowed his mind to be stayed on it. Man did not dismiss the negative thoughts, the negative things that he received, the things that contradicted his mind. He received them and never allowed his mind to dismiss them immediately. And so we find man developing a negative mind, and both of us, born from a man who then developed a negative mind, inherit this. Before you become aware of yourself, you have a negative mind. So the question will still be, how do I change my mind from the natural now to the positive mind? How do you change? There's no doubt we've all received a negative mind in one way or another. But how do you change? And you must know the content of a negative mind. You must know the content of a positive mind. And where do you get content from? Where do you get the content of a negative mind? So that you can avoid listening to the things that will give you, that will feed you with the negative content of the mind. You never look at the things that will give you a negative. You remain to receive, remain to watch the things that will give you a positive mind. A mind takes time to develop. You have heard people say, but change your mind. And in English, to change your mind may be to change your decision about something. But when it comes to the concept of changing the mind, you have to deal with the content that you have. You cannot change your mind without knowing the content of a mind that you have that is limiting you, a mind that is limiting your range of movement to achieving what you want to achieve in life. When you know the content, then you should also take the time to know the kind of a mind, the content of a mind that will be favorable, that will be a home of a dictates, the dictates that will drive you to do what you're supposed to do to achieve what you want in life. So when you know that, then you start receiving that new content. It takes time. You start exposing yourself to the new content, and you stop listening to the things that will always give you a negative content. When you have received a positive content for a long time, receiving a positive content is not enough. This mind, this newly developed mind, newly cultivated mind has to be strong, because otherwise you may still live with the mind that is always holding you back. There are some things that you need to do. You need to have some special times every day to train your mind. Training your mind is very important. As we say, this is a battle. And so because this is a battlefield that your mind will always be receiving some negative thing, things that will always contradict what you want to do. And sometimes, if you don't know the nature of the heart, the things that you receive, you invisibly receive, might put you into the so-called suspended animation. You procrastinate every time. You don't find to do. You want to do, but you can't find doing. You're deciding to do, but you can't find doing. You are feeling an intimidation. You're feeling weak on the inside. Now, how do you lift up yourself from this? Especially if you don't know the name of the battle, because you always receive negative. Napoleon Hill says that life will never allow you to enjoy its bounty if you do not overcome graveyards. There's a resisting force. There's a force that will always resist you in whatever you want to achieve, especially if you want to achieve a good success. Now, if you don't know the nature of the battle, when you are resisted, you can't know. There are people who allow just everything to come in their mind, and their mind are stayed on the subjects. They do not even ever dismiss. Why? Because they don't know what their mind should be like in order to achieve what they want in life. So you allow everything to come in and be stayed. You spend some 5 minutes stayed on something that is holding you back. Allow it in your mind. There are people who think about rejection. Rejection is a thought that will put you down, that will hold you from moving forward, that will not give you courage to move. You allow the thought of rejection to stay with you. And there are people who think about rejection for 10 minutes when they should immediately dismiss it. There are people who think about how they have been humiliated in the course of pursuing their dream. So they sit down and think about the humiliation for too long, when they should dismiss right away any subject that want to come in the mind that will make you to be stayed on the humiliation that you face, the rejection that you face, how you feel, how bad you feel. These are things that you don't have to allow your mind to be stayed on. Friends of mine, I have the legitimacy to share with you about the human mind because for years I have experimented on the human mind. There was a time when I was humiliated. I was born in the village. I could not speak the language that I speak now. And even my Swahili wasn't that very good. Now I went somewhere and I was badly humiliated because of not knowing English. But you see, from nowhere, I got the courage that I could do something about it. And when I decided to do something about it, on the way, I discovered the secret of reaching this level of English that I am in. I read somewhere and I discovered that if you were to speak any language, you don't have to deal with with grammar. You don't have to deal with parts of speech. What you have to deal with is deal with your mind, because the law of proficiency in any language on earth is to think in a language. The language has to become a part of your subconscious mind. The language has to overflow your subconscious mind. And when I got this, I found out that I have to fill my mind. I have to cultivate a new mind on the inside of me. I need to fill my brain with an English content. So I started reading books. I started listening to people speaking English. And I can assure you that I started listening to people speaking English that I didn't even hear, that I didn't even understand what they said. But I kept on listening. I read books that I didn't even know how to pronounce the words, but I kept on doing. Deep on the inside of me, I have the determination, but I'm telling you, it was not easy. One day, an idea came to my mind that if you are to reach the level of a native speaker, what you need to do is to be able to think in English like native speakers do. So I said, what do I have to do? Take the time, always. Now that I have the content, I had to study the content that I had. Was it an enough content that could allow my mind to be trained to think in English all the day long? Then I found a way to fill my mind with an enough content that my mind would now go into the other stage of being trained to be stayed in English. I had to discipline my mind. I had to go to places where I would be lonely for hours and hours and stay there, at least to get my mind stayed on this newly mind that I wanted. Now, there is a tendency of a human mind. If it stays longer on certain subjects, it eventually becomes strong. The other mind will become subdued, will be subdued. It will become a mind that will dominate your head. Now that I was born in the village, I had the Sukuma mind, and then I have a measure of the Swahili mind. How do I bring my newly cultivated and developed English mind and make it be the one that will dominate me always during the day? I had to train. And training is not easy. You can't win any battle with any training. So I needed a training. I would always wake up during the night and allow my mind to be stayed on English for even 6 hours. The other thing that I did, that I want to share with you, is to make sure that my mind, my stomach, you have to make sure that your stomach is not always with food. Your stomach doesn't have to be full of food because it will interfere with your mind. It will not, it will. There's a way that the stomach does affect the mind so that your mind does not become clear. And so I would take the time to eat less, to eat only what I needed for survival. I know there are most of us who live to eat. They don't live what is only necessary for their living. Uh-huh. That's what I did. Having done that for a long time, gradually my mind became strong, became strengthened, became adapted to thinking in English all the time. And so it would always recoil every time Swahili thoughts would want to come and possess my mind and dominate it. My mind would recoil and go back to English. Today, as I speak to you, I can think in English for even a whole day. I can think in English for even 9 hours. Why? Because I decided to cultivate. It doesn't mean that I don't have the Sukuma mind on the inside of me. It doesn't mean that I don't have the Swahili mind on the inside of me. It is because I have allowed the English mind to be stronger than the other minds that I had. And so they do not always dominate me during the day. I am dominated with another mind. That's what you can do. What kind of mind do you want to achieve what you said for yourself in life? Then you have to fill your mind with this new content. You must know the kind of content, mind content that you need to achieve what you have said for yourself. And then fill your mind, fill your brain with it. Then go the next step to train. How do you train? I said that go to lonely places, stay somewhere sometime. Sometimes wake up during the night when it's cool, when everybody else is asleep, and allow your mind to be stayed on the things that you're supposed to do. Always stayed on the things that you're supposed to do during the day. When your mind branches out, when your mind goes to things that will not give you the very dictates to doing what you're supposed to do, dismiss them immediately. Don't allow anything to be stayed in your mind, even for a second. Anything that will put you down, anything that will throw you into the so-called suspended animation, so that you can be a person who is hoping to achieve something, and you never achieve. Never achieve because you don't do what you're supposed to do to achieve what you said for yourself. There is a battle. So what I had to do is go to lonely places, sit down. Whenever the other thoughts from the other mind would want to come in my mind, I would take the time to dismiss. This battle is a serious battle. It's not a battle that you are going to be released in 1 day or 2 days, but it's a battle that you can win if you are determined. There are some things that you are to do. You are to burn every means of retreat. You are to do some adventuresome actions. That I am determined to do this. I have to do it. Come what may, I have to do it. So there was a time I would go to some lonely places during the night and stay there. It was so dangerous to stay in some of the other places, but I had to stay there because I was decided. I was so determined to develop this new mind, an English mind. So that way, I know that you too can develop a mind. You can develop a new mind, a mind that will dictate you to do what you're supposed to do to achieve what you want in life. The reason you have not achieved is not because of your parents, it's not because of your friends, it's not because of any situation. It's because you don't always do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do every day for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, still doing the same thing. And if you keep doing, one day an opportunity will open. One day a chance will open because you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. We achieve things because we leave doing the things that we're supposed to do for a long time. May God bless you.
Yeah, you guys, that was Hezron Mafuru speaking to you live from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. He was trying to share his story, what he went through about conquering his mind. So now I'm coming back to you guys. I want you to share with us your story, whatever stuff you got from his talk. And also if you have any story of yours that can make sense to other people. As you know, we have people from all over. We have guys from Nigeria. Whoever is in Nigeria, can you share with us your story, or if you got something out of Hezron talk? So whoever is Nigeria, can you put your microphone on so we can hear you? We want to hear stories from all over. And also we have a person here from US. I'll come back to you later. And think of somebody from Zambia and also in Namibia. and some guys here from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and other parts of Tanzania. So I want to hear now a story from Nigeria. Who is this? Adebimpe. Can you share with us? Now you are on now. Adebimpe, can you share something from Hezron Talk and any sort of viewers that can make sense to other people? Just put your microphone on. Adebimpe. While I'm still waiting for a person from Nigeria, now let me go to the United States. Atukuzwe Nyelenda, I'm sure you came in late a little bit, but can you share with us what did you went through to master your mind? I know you have been doing a lot of stuff helping people, and so what did you overcome to be the kind of person you are? Sister Atukuzwe, you are on now. Atukuzwe, yes.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm driving, but I will speak a little bit. Yeah, I just joined. I didn't listen the whole time when he was talking, but whatever I heard was good. I think he wanted to remind us how to set up our mind when we want something we want.
Yes, I want your story. What did you go through to be the kind of person you are? That's what I asked you.
Well, okay, my story is always the same. I have been here in the United States now almost for 20 years. But when I came here for the first time, it was hard for me because I knew some English, but not really English. So the first day when I was in the classroom, when the teacher was speaking, I couldn't understand anything because my English was not that English which I was able to understand what was.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, we lost Sister Tkuzwe. Uh, now I'm going back again to Nigeria. Whoever is in Nigeria, can you share with us? Adebimpe, you are live now. Just put your microphone on and share with us your story and anything that you got from Mr. Ezra. Yes, go ahead now.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Alfonso, for taking out time to train us. Yeah, for me, what I've done so far, what I've taken from what Mr. Hezron said is, whatever you think, you just have to put it into action. Whatever you have in mind, you just have to let it come to being. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever you feed your mind with is what you become or is what you do. Like you said, the mind is a form of the pictures you see and then the words that you hear. So as much as I'm concerned, I try to surround myself with a lot of positivity, positive people, and whatever it is that I like to do, once I have it in my mind, I think it, I say it to myself, I believe it, and I do it. And so far, I've developed by reading a lot of positive books, talking to people who have been to places that I aspire to be, people who are successful, mentors that can challenge me in a very positive way. Yeah, I think just that's about it for me.
Okay, and then what can you say about our brothers and sisters who are running away to Europe and then they keep being drowned in the deep sea out there? What can you say about them?
It's quite sad though. It's pathetic. It's really, really sad because at the end of the day, I keep telling people you want to leave your country and go elsewhere to work to be a better person. However, why don't start from where you are right now and make it? As far as I'm concerned, I'm in Nigeria. I tell people a lot, if you cannot make it in Nigeria, I don't see you making it anywhere in the world, because Nigeria is such a place that has vast opportunities. And you know, no matter where you are or what you do or where you go, opportunities are always in front of you. So it's up to you if you take it and what you do with it.
Okay. Do you want to add more, or you are done?
I'm done, thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now let me go back at Nigeria again. Sholape, are you there? I'm trying to find you. Yes, Sholape, can you share something? Yes, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. And thank you very much for giving us this amazing opportunity to be able to listen to your webinar. I learned a lot. My journey, my entrepreneurial journey has been very fulfilling. I know that the more you develop your mind, the more you can develop any business. You know, it's very, very important to keep developing oneself. You know, personal development is fantastic. And when it comes to success, the mind is the first place where it starts. You know, and that's why I really, really enjoyed this webinar. Your success starts from the mind. If you think you can do it, you're right. And if you think you cannot do it, you're right. So that's why we have to constantly feed our minds. You know, I for the past 5 years, I've been very, very big in personal development. I work on my mindset every single day. And I like the quotes where he said, every battle is won before it is ever fought. You know, we win and lose battles in the mind. So the first place you need to start is your mind. Work on your mindset. You know, work on your mind every single day, because you see, your mind is going to direct you towards success. And Alphonse, I've learned a lot from you as well. You know, every time we meet, you know, you're always buying books or, you know, talking about personal development, which is something that, you know, I really, really like about you. Thank you very much for the inspiration. I learned a lot.
Okay, thank you. That was Sholape from Nigeria. And you guys, it's an open session. So whoever want to speak, you can just put your microphone on and go on air, because it's an open discussion. And if you have any questions for Mr. Hezron also, you should not hesitate to ask. Just feel free. Whoever want to share with us, whether it's a personal story or is from Hezron Talk. So you guys, it's an open. Let me try to find again Sister Tukuzwe. Probably now the connection is okay with you. Sister Tukuzwe, you are on my side. Can you switch on your microphone? Tukuzwe, I know you're in Florida. You need to share with us. Let's go where again? Maybe I can go to Nigeria again. Nigeria is a big nation. There are almost over 200. There is this Mary Akwaba. Mary, can you share with us? I'm sure you're in Nigeria just by reading your surname. Mary, can you share with us something? Mary Akwaba. Hello, Mary. Oh, you guys, who can share with us? Okay, she's not there. Sister Tukuzo is not there. Glory Sanga, can you share with us? What did you learn, Glory? Hello, Glory. Can you share with us something?
Yes. Okay. Hey, everybody.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. What I just learned is our minds are created positively. So every time we think, anything we are putting into our mind should be positive. Positive minds are leading to positive solutions, are leading to positive success. So what I just learned is we should not allow the negative minds, but we should develop the positive minds in order to perform well. And also what I learned is that we should never look at things based on negativity. We should look things based on positivity. When we look things based on positivity, they will help us win. Thank you.
Okay, that was Glory Sanga from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And now I'm trying to find you guys, whoever want to share, please let us know. This is what Blessing. Blessing, can you share with us something? Either your personal story or anything that you got from Mr. Hezron talk. Blessing, you're on air now.
Yes. Good evening kwa wote.
No,
So mimi ambacho nimejifunza.
English, please. We have Nani speaking.
Oh.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. Good evening to you all. What I have learned is that the way our minds are created, they only take in what we provide to it, what we see, what we hear. That is what our mind, absorbs. So whatever you think, whatever you see, whatever you read, that is how you feed your mind. So let's try and work hard on feeding our positivity in our minds. Let's stop engaging ourselves to things that cannot add up anything to our lives. So that is the focus there. Let's focus on building our mind, because our minds creates behavior, and behavior is something that you can do. So you can only change your behavior when you're at this age. I can say at a younger age, but as you go older, your behavior becomes your skin color. They say that your behavior becomes the skin color. So oftentimes you cannot change it, but you can only improve it when you want to do it. So that is the core part, that let's feed positivity, and let's grow in that area. Thank you.
Okay, that was Blessing. Now let me go to Tanzania again. We have this Zuhura Mustafa. Do you have something to share with us, Zuhura? Zuhura Mustafa.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Zuhura.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for such a wonderful presentation. You and Mr. Eswin are doing an amazing job trying to make us all better, and so that we can all get to know ourselves better and be more productive. That's a very big thank you to all of you. And secondly, I want to say it's really hard to fight the battle of the mind, but with people like you around, you make it a little. I can even say
Can
more.
you speak a little bit louder, Zuhura? Go louder a little bit.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you, yes.
Okay. I'm saying thank you for the presentation. That's one. Second, I want to say thank you for being there for all of us who are always trying to win the battle of the mind. It's a real war out here. And I'm so sure everyone who is in this webinar, and even those who are going to share with this webinar too, they are fighting a war in their life. But with people like you who are always there to give us hope and courage that we can do this, you make this world a better place. So I just want to say thank you. And I know the only war that we have to fight, so long as we're alive, we just have to fight the battle of the mind, and we're fighting it every day. So I just want to say thank you for this presentation. Thank you, Mr. Hezron, and I just want to appreciate everyone in this webinar. I see people from West Africa. Thank you, guys. I know it's late night there, but you're still with us. And I just hope you make your life better, become productive, not busy, don't sweat, just work smart. Thank you, Mr. Alphonse.
Okay, that was Zuhura. Now I'm going back again to Nigeria. There is this Unwake Joy. I guess you're in Nigeria. Unwake, do you have something to share with us? Unwake Joy. You're on air now. While you are still waiting for Unwake, let me go back again to the United States. Sister Tukuzwe, probably you are still there. Let me find where's the Tukuzwe. Now, okay, now I got you. Sister Tukuzwe, can you still share with us now? Hello, Sister Atikuzwe.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Can I talk later after 20 minutes maybe?
Yeah, we'll be done with the webinar. Okay, then. Let me find. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Okay. You guys, Hezron, can you maybe sum up something probably because you have heard what people are sharing and maybe if you there's something that you forgot and you want to share with us before we our webinar, you can go ahead probably. Yeah, welcome.
Well, I am glad that there are people who've been following the talk. And what I can still tell them is that, yes, like some of you pointed out, that the beginning of everything is the mind. There is no way you can succeed in life without rearranging your mind. I know it has been very difficult for most people, and that is why there are so many people who are running to quick fix. They are joining the jackpot and all the other kind of things because they think succeeding in life you have to go through a shortcut. But if you know the battle of the mind and determine and work to win, you are sure to succeed in whatever you set yourself to succeed in. So know that success is always there for us, but we have to first win the battle in our minds. We have to first, because how life has been set, that is how life has been designed, that when you are striving to achieve something good for your life, there will always be something that is antagonistic, something that we want to push you down. So you can never enjoy success in life if you do not win the battle. And the battle is always in the mind, and we are pushed down in the mind. And that is why there's a lot of planning. People planning every year, but they come to the end of the year with nothing done. Why? Because they do not know the nature of how success can be achieved, how to achieve the goals. And they are defeated always in the mind. So we share with you this, that you may know that you don't have to complain about the government. You don't have to complain about your parents. You don't have to complain about anybody around you or the situation. You are to go back and sit down and ask yourself, is the mind that you have the kind that can get you the kind of success that you want? Do you have the mind that can reach you where you want to be? Do you really have? So if you don't have the mind that can reach you where you want to be, don't complain about anybody. Don't complain about the government. Don't complain about your parents. Go back and start dealing with your mind. Find people who can guide you into training your mind to become the kind of a mind that will dictate you to do the things that you're supposed to do to achieve what you want in life. I think for today, let me stop right there. I am sure that you got it. And I know that most of you will take some things and will start seriously to deal with your mind, to change your mind before you can enter into the game of striving for something that you want in life. Because if you don't deal with your mind now, defeated before you start. You won't achieve, you won't get there because the kind of mind that you have now will hold you back. The kind of mind that you have now will always make you hate to do what you're supposed to do. You will find that what you're supposed to do is a burden. So you feel you won't have the passion of doing what you're supposed to do to achieve what you want in life. Why? Because your mind is not prepared to like what you're supposed to do. It's not the kind that will like what you're supposed to do. It does hate. So the enemy is always in our minds. May God bless you and keep you until next time.
Okay, that was Mr. Hezron Mafuru. I'm live from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. You guys, it was so nice having you this evening. I'm sure you enjoyed the session. We are going to have this webinar posted on YouTube tomorrow. So what you can do, you can just Google Alphonse Chilato, and then you will find it. Or for some of you who have your contact, I'll still forward the link through your WhatsApp messages. So thank you very much, you guys. Unfortunately, we missed a word from Sister Tukuzwe. Probably should be with us next time. So once more time, you guys, thank you very much and good night.